If you've ever questioned the old school advice you hear in grow circles, stick around. We're going to bust some myths. But before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Grow Lab. If you want to connect with the best growers from all over the world, get tips and tricks on how to grow the dankest plants possible, and not have to worry about the censorship we get from YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, go check out realgrowlab.com. Get all kinds of great Grow Talk Q&A. Plus, see all the stuff YouTube won't let me show you in these videos. Sign up and join our growing community over at realgrowlab.com. Or download the app at the Apple or Android App Store. Now let's get back to today's video. Come on, High C, let's jump into this one. This one was fun.
This, especially the first one, kind of caught me off guard. I'm a little bit woo, and I didn't know whether to believe this one or not.
Well, this is what got me down the rabbit hole. High C sent me a article that was about plants able to hear sounds. And it got me down the rabbit hole of, is that real? Is that fake? Hang on, I've been hearing about that since elementary school. And I remember back, I've been a grower for 30 years. Maybe 20 years ago, somebody gave me an answering machine tape on an endless loop of birds chirping. And it was called Sonic Bloom, and you were supposed to play it for like the first 15 minutes of the day to wake your plants up. And I don't know, man. It came with nutrient and stuff. It seemed a little bit suspicious. Okay, so if your plants can go to sleep with the 730 nanometer light, right? We talk about that. Why shouldn't there be something that wakes them up? If a plant can see, why can't it hear? I mean, plants sense vibrations. That leaf, if you play bass music, that leaf will move. Same way your eardrum moves, right?
Yeah, so what tripped me out about this, the reason I sent it to you, is they were saying that different types of music will actually affect the plant, and some music will make it bulk up, and some music will make it not bulk up.
Now that's what I'm saying. That's kind of where I need more evidence, and I will tell you that when I went to find more evidence, there was one study done that, by the way, it was on soy back in the day. It's like 50 to 70% increases. That's why you can't trust everything that you see in a peer-reviewed research, you know, in a journal. You have to have it be replicated and replicated. The weirdest thing is, though, nobody chose to replicate that study.
Nobody even tried.
No, and I started investigating, and then Mr. Conspiracy Theory over here goes, wait a minute. Big Ag doesn't want you to buy a pair of speakers and up your yields or your performance 10 or 15 or 3%. There ain't no recurring revenue in that. Then when you're coming back and buying, we got a 3% terpene increase if you buy this product. That's what they want, man. And it did get me scratching my head. I love to read books about growing and just about plants. They're fascinating to me. If you want, there's a guy named Stefano Mancuso, and then there's a girl named Monica Gagliano, and they do these experiments. I think it was Monica ran water on one side of the plant, and the roots grew towards that side of towards the water. Wait, the sound of the water.
Yeah, you said she didn't actually run water. She just had a speaker playing the sound of water.
Yes, I apologize. The sound of water. It simulated water, and it made them respond, you know?
So they heard it somehow and responded.
Yeah.
And you were saying something else about caterpillars?
Yeah. I was doing some research. Stefano Mancuso played the frequency of caterpillars chewing on the leaves. It makes a certain crunch. We can't hear it, but I'll bet you the leaf being in so close proximity can sense those vibrations. So it turns up the secondary metabolites to try to make the leaf taste bad for that caterpillar to go away. It does make sense.
It does, but we're told that plants can't think and plants can't see, plants can't hear, but it seems like maybe they can.
Plants can see, definitely.
Well, they have the light receptors.
Yes, and it seems like they've done the experiments. They haven't been in journals and peer-reviewed, but it does seem like they can hear. So I'm putting that one in the maybe column, interesting column, why not try it column.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the second possible myth. Is it true?
This one's easy. That this is bigger containers equals bigger yields. And of course this makes sense, right? You want a big plant up top, you need a big root zone down below, right?
That's what I always heard was as above, so below.
Yes, and that's good in theory, but what we're doing here is we're really speeding up the growth of these plants. This isn't a tree that we're leaving out for seasons. We are playing Mother Nature here. So we have that container, and what do we know? That the roots need air. We're always talking about the right air to water ratio. You don't want the media too saturated. You don't want it too dry. It's hard to do that with a little plant in a giant container. That giant container is going to stay wet. The center where that tiny little bit of plant is going to have different moisture levels, and it's going to be hard. You might water a small seedling or a solo cup in a 7-gallon container. What, are you going to water that once a week?
Well, I've run into the issue of an outdoor garden where I have this big above ground bed with a lot of soil in it, and planting seed directly into it doesn't make my plant grow as fast as when I grow indoor and I up pot.
Sure. What are we talking about, man? The right size container so it goes from wet to dry, wet to dry. The more frequently you can do that, the higher performance you can get. There's a Dutch table method. If you ever get bored and want to Google Dutch table method, they take a 6-inch by 6-inch by 6-inch rock wool cube and they saturate it. I mean, think about how small that is. And they saturate it, I think it's like 12 to 16 times a day, a little burst of water every hour. It is the highest performing grow system there is. I mean, the growth is unbelievable. And that's because it's the cyclical irrigation. You're just giving it exactly what it needs when it needs it. So just be careful about that. I want to grow trees. I'm going to plant my clone in a big container. There are best nursery practices for stepping plants up. Most of the time, that's why they have 1 gallons, 3 gallons, 5 gallons, 7 gallons. Each one just expands the roots a little bit more, and that's what we're trying to do.
So you don't want to start off with a 10-gallon straight out of the solo cup?
No, because you'll be watering it once every 5 or 7 days. And think about it. If you're watering every 5 or 7 days, that's a day or two for it to be too wet, a day or two for it to be too dry. Not perfect. I'd rather have it perfect conditions, perfect moisture conditions the whole time.
Okay, but I have noticed going straight out of the solo cup into the real buckets. Sure. Which is about a 3-gallon.
Yep.
And I'm not doing the dry back, but I'm still getting amazing root system out of it.
When you have something like, a wicking system, what's the idea? That you're not going from wet to dry. You're just always keeping even moisture the entire time. It's a little bit different. Are you going to get the performance of that Dutch table method with all those dry backs? No. Are you going to get a strong performing system where most of the time the water air to moisture ratio is correct? So that's why when you go into my grow, even in the real buckets with the 3-gallon container, you can still grow some trees, some real beasts.
Okay, and let's move on to the most contentious, I think, out of all of these.
Right.
I hear people argue for and against 48 hours of darkness right before you harvest.
Sure. This is one, man, what did I say? There's some truth in this. So if you're trying to get danker bud and more trichomes, you need photosynthesis. You need light, you need water, you need that energy to build those trichomes. That's the 48 hours of darkness is not going to help that. You need the light to photosynthesize, so you are shutting photosynthesis down.
You're basically putting your plant to sleep for the last 2 important days.
Yes, or at least you're stopping, and this is where there's some truth to it. You're stopping it making chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is one of those things that constantly has to be replenished in the plant. That's why if you don't feed right for 2 or 3 days, they start yellowing. That's the chlorophyll going away. So what they're doing, or the science behind this dark period, is to bring out the colors in the plant. You start breaking down that chlorophyll. You give it a 2-day jump start before you dry. You simulate these drying conditions where you turn the temperature down, you put it in the dark, you basically start drying the plant or giving in those conditions. The last 48 hours, the chlorophyll starts breaking down, and there's these anthocyanins, which is that purple and those fall colors. Because you're simulating fall, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so by doing that, you can bring colors out. You're not going to grow danker, you're not going to get more trichomes or more frost. You very well, if the plant has those colors in it, you will start expressing those colors a couple days earlier. So there is some truth to it.
All right, and I've heard you talk before about when the plant goes to sleep, it creates florigen.
Yeah, florigen, the flower generating hormone. Oh, I see where you're going.
So if you turn off the lights and let it sleep for the last couple days, does it increase florigen production, and will that have any effect?
Man, I would say just off the top of my head, theoretically, yes, but that plant is slowing down so badly. It is, it's going to die over the next week. It is dying. So thinking that it's going to ramp up hormone production over the last couple of days in the dark, I don't know, negligible difference, I'll say. I would like to think that you're doing it to bring out the colors. That's the only clear benefit I can think of. As a matter of fact, though, if you're looking for trichomes, if you're not trying to get colors out of it, just trying to get as many trichomes as you can, I'd rather use the Rasta Jeff method, which is to turn your lights back up to 18 hours on. You're basically your veg cycle, because trichomes are made out of water and carbon and light. All that stuff, if you leave it over the last week, you keep that going, I think you very well might be able to build more trichomes that way. Hey, but that is just my take on some of the most controversial grow myths. Come on, but what about you? What grow myths have you heard? And are they real science or bro science? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video with another grower you know, and check out the other couple of videos YouTube's recommending. We think you'll dig them.